Hello, and welcome to the Poison Paint Factory. My factory designated name is Poison226. Nice to meet you. Hello, so welcome back to another painting video. As you can see, I've already undercoated the Bride of Frankenstein white, and now we're going to paint the white robes. So as you already know, you can't just paint white for white, you've got to paint a variety of different greys. So I'm starting off with this graphite grey, which I've watered down significantly just so it's super smooth. You don't have to water it down quite so much. There you go, that's what it should look like. It's got quite a nice browny kind of grey to it, which I quite like, but to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm going to use a blue grey at the base of the model, and I'm going to drag the paint up to meet where the brown grey is, and it should create some interesting combinations of colours. So that's it, fully opaque. It looks pretty messy by now. It looks like she stepped in a big puddle and it's gone up to a middle, but it will look better, I promise. I'm just darkening down some of the shadowy areas like her upper back, below her breasts, and in the recesses of her dress. All these nice little creases. I was genuinely surprised how many details were on this model. Well, not necessarily details as in different things, but how shallow it looked. And then when I started painting it, actually these little creases and little folds in the fabric really do stand out. I'm really quite impressed. A lot better to paint than the Dracula. See my Dracula video. With this model though, I was trying to keep with the black and white theme that I'd done with the Dracula model. Second plug. Yeah, there we go. So I decided to go with a little bit of red for the hair, because if you've watched the Bride of Frankenstein video that Ray did very kindly, she actually had red hair when it was transposed into black and white, or when it was filmed, should I say. You couldn't tell that, so everyone thinks that it's a black and white wig. Actually it's not. She had red hair, and it was actually her hair, but see that video that Ray did for more details on that. Look at that cheeky bum. That was me. I'll take credit for that. I kind of saw an opportunity and thought, hey, why don't we make the dress a little bit translucent, just try and push my painting quality a little bit further, see if I could do it. It looks alright. I'm quite impressed with how the different shadows and lights work with the model. As I've been rambling, I've painted the wraps on her arms, and what I was concerned about when I went to paint this model was, how am I going to make the wraps and the dress look different? Because I didn't want it all to look like the same fabric, the same things. So hence, that's why I decided to do a bit of blending on the dress and make it a little bit darker than what I would normally have done for white. And then with the bandages, do different horizontal stripes on it to give it a bit of a texture, all the way up to very, very thin, very little amounts of white. And I did cheat, and I only did the bits that would be visible. So the bits under her arms are actually pretty much the initial colour that I painted it with. So you don't have to paint everything, people aren't going to see it, and if it's in shadow, cheat. At this point I was getting quite nervous because I thought that the skin tone was a little bit wrong. I did not want it to be zombie green, I'm kind of playing with my options with maybe doing a Frankenstein video, so if you want to see that, let me know. But I wanted the Bride of Frankenstein skin to be brighter than how I would do the Frankenstein model. Hence, playing around with different greens I've not normally used. But I'm quite pleased with how she looks in the end. You'll see, we'll get there. Also, this is one of those models that I decided to really go all out on the eyes. You really do not have to do this for eyes, but I wanted to push it and try. So putting the little pink bits in the eyes, as you can kind of see, doesn't look too bad, but we'll get there. To kind of do a quick overview of eyes, if you paint them like black or brown, that tends to be a good base. Then use like a cream or a white in horizontal lines to go over it, leaving some of the black outline showing. That is your basic eye. Then just do a little line vertically down with black, or try and do a dot, whichever, and that will give you a very good eye. Just make sure that the pupils are kind of pointing in the same direction. You don't want them to be looking like they're trying to escape the head. As you can see here, I've done lots of different colours for the eyes. I did the black dot like I've just explained, but then I did a white dot showing some of the black showing, painted a little bit of a bright green on top of the white of the eye, pupil, and I go a little bit further, but it looks really good, as you'll see when we get to the final pictures. And this is what I did to fix the face. I kind of thinned the white down and gradually glazed over and over the green, leaving some of the green showing in the creases of her face, below her chin, that kind of thing, and just brightened it up where I thought the light would hit, and it looks pretty good. I'm really pleased. Now I'm just showing the little scars that I painted on. They weren't part of the model, but I felt like she was missing something, and when looking at the reference pictures and watching Ray's video back, another plug, I decided to do some freehand, very minimal, but just to show the scars on her face, and I'm really pleased with that. I just feel like that really captures the likeness of the character and the actress. And I've gone back to the hair now. I kind of didn't know what I was going to do with that, so I used some different browns and reds to give it some texture, some brighter bits down the middle strip at the top, trying to pick out some texture. This is where the model kind of fell apart a little bit in the sculpt for me. The hair is very textured, but there are some pretty gnarly mold lines right through it, and it's hard to disguise them. What I did was I darkened the underneath of her hair so you couldn't really see it, and I also brought the overall red and colour down using kind of an ink consistency to bring it down. And with the white strips in her hair, I really wanted it to not look just like stuck on, so I used 3 different shades, 2 greys and a white, just to kind of give it that really electrified bright colour that it's really kicking it out. And we finish off with a good old black RJ, and we're done. So this is the model as it stands. I'm really pleased with how this one came out. I did not expect it to look as good as it did. The hands were quite difficult to pick out. Each finger's kind of like a little bit merged with the others, but you kind of expect that quality of a sculpt with a board game like this. You don't expect them to be, GW standard or, a fine cast kind of thing. It's just a not generic board game, but it's just one of them where it's like, you feel like the models are secondary to the actual game instead of the models being the primary selling point. So I didn't expect a lot out of this model, but I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed blending and learning how to do the fault in the fabric better and better, and I feel like it really keeps with the black and white theming that I'm going with that set, but she also has little pops of colour which I really like, and it really keeps her interesting. I hope you've enjoyed this little paint job that I did. I'd love to see, if you guys do this, I'd love to see how yours come out. I would love to see if you managed to do the eyes and the tongue and the little things like that I managed to pick out, or what you did differently, like what colour you would do her skin tone. Would you do black and white? Would you go brighter with the fabric, the dress? Because mine's pretty grey. I like to think that she's kind of in the shadows a little bit, coming out, and it's that horrified moment where she sees her betrothed, her Frankenstein's monster, step out for the first time, and she's horrified by him, arm reaching out, looking for that escape, that scream she does. Absolutely brilliant. I can't recommend the film highly enough. I would definitely say go watch Universal's Bride of Frankenstein. Yes, it's old, but it's very good. I would actually go as far as saying it's the best sequel to a film franchise ever, and I don't think that's overstating it at all. You tell me if there's another sequel to any film that you think is better than the original, because I can't think of any. Anyway, with all that said, I just want to say a quick thank you to Ray, wherever she is, for putting in 110% with the Bride of Frankenstein video she did. I don't know where she's gone, but if anyone sees her out there in the wild, please let me know. And so, with all that said, thank you for your time. I wish you a good day, and many more besides. Yours, forever in horror, 226.